little bit bigger stuff than I thought. All right. Well, that's really good news. Good morning. Behind me is a forklift I just purchased to be able to work on the military trucks. I am at the GovPlanet site down in Colorado Springs, where I'm going to pick this up. Today's project is to get it running, to see what it needs to get it running, then to ultimately get it running so I can load it on a trailer and get it home. So let's do a quick walk around, just give you a look at the vehicle and kind of what I think we need to be doing. So here we go. This is a silent hoist. I believe it's 1976. Got a 10,000 pound lifting capacity. It has, I believe, 984 hours on it. I believe that's what it has. 980 hours. So it has 980 hours on it. Overall, it's in reasonably good condition. Not a lot of rust. The hydraulic hoses are all pretty well worn. The engine is showing some wear, but I think that is just primarily just the engine, overall being from 1976. So let's take a look. Kind of start out here in the front. And you can see that everything on this is hydraulic. So the forks move back and forth hydraulically. Also up and down, this is a 2-stage forklift. This will probably go up about 8 feet maybe. That's just a guess on my part. Also, I'm not sure exactly yet what it weighs, so that's part of the process of figuring out how I'm going to get it home, is understanding how much it weighs. So the controls on this, kind of hard to see. This is a lift up and down. Up is pulling the lever down this way, down is that way, the lift. This is the tilt, and then this is shift left and right, and this is spreading in and out. Once again, I'm not an expert on these. This is the first one I've ever owned, so I'm just kind of figuring out what this is as well. But you can see these hoses are in pretty bad shape, so they'll probably all need to be replaced, everything be refurbished. So this is a inline 6-cylinder engine. It's a Ford 300 cubic inch. They made a lot of engines back in the 60s and 70s. Some of them went in their trucks and their vehicles. Some of them went in industrial applications. And from what I've read, the ones are in the industrial applications that they actually have a heavier forged crank. So this is actually should be a really good engine. You can see that it's got a bit of years on it, but overall it looks like it's in pretty good shape. This right here is the hydraulic tank, and I have new fluid for it. I have new filters, so I've got everything I need to do to bring that up and get it running, as long as all the cylinders are good and pumps are good. And then this is the distributor side, power steering reservoir, obviously oil filter. This is the hydraulics, 6-cylinder. I don't know if it's got fluids in it, so that's what I'm going to do next, is get started on that. And you'll see down here, there's nothing here. That was a gas tank. The gas tank has been removed, or was hit, and so I removed it. It's actually at my shop at home. I'm going to try to bring that back to life. For today, I have a temporary, it's actually a plastic marine tank that should work just fine. So with that said, let's go ahead. I'm going to set the camera up over here on the side. Let's get started and start seeing what's wrong with it. To get this started, let's see if there's any oil in it. So you can see the answer to that is no. It is empty. So I'll need to put oil in it. I'm going to throw a new filter in it first and then put some oil in it. Let's check out the distributor here. The distributor cap actually looks like it's in good shape. There's just a little bit of corrosion on it, which I'll get that off. And it looks like it's got a solid state points on it, which is good. The plugs look fairly new, so those are all good things. And then the final piece is really to get a fuel tank on it, get it full of fluids, and then get a battery in it. I shouldn't say the final thing, but kind of the next steps. Get fluid in it, turn it over, get the fuel in it. So I'm going to dive into that. one nice thing about these older engines is that they're really easy to work on. Not a lot of, well, no electronics on this to speak of at all. Everything's accessible, so that's really, really nice. First hitch, the threads don't match from this oil filter that was cross-referenced at CarQuest. So I'm going to put the oil filter back on just because I need to get oil in it to run it. And I'll have to do a return on that, get the right oil filter, and change that later. I'll do the hydraulics in a few minutes once I get some oil in it. First attempt at cranking it over. They don't have any power. I'm going to assume that the battery cables are good, and then I need to open this up and get the ignition turned on it. And once I do that, I should be in pretty good shape. So I'm going to go get that done. Let's get this battery, or this cover off, flip it up, and get some power into the system. There might be a key here someplace, but it's pretty simple to replace that ignition key. I want to strip this out, and I do have to get to these wires. There we go. Well, I did not bring another ignition switch, but hopefully I can get this running. All right. Well, that's really good news. That excites me. I'm not sure the exact capacity of this, and it'll be probably between 5 and 7 quarts. So I'm going to start out with about 5 quarts. Not exactly an ideal setup for pouring oil. Throttle's in the way, so it's not real graceful. All right, that's about a party. 5 quarts. Let's let that sit for a minute and see where we end up. And yes, I do realize that the oil filter is empty. I'll get some oil in that. Looks like it is at the full mark. Just fine for right now. I'm trying to get a little bit of oil in this, just to get the engine started. Of course, with the filter being put on sideways, I'll get some that'll spill out, so I got to try to do this with the least amount of mess. There we go. That was pretty easy. And down to it now with putting some fuel to it, trying to get it started. All right, I have the batteries hooked up. I have a fuel tank on it. Let's see if it'll start. Hopefully it will. Here it goes. All right, now we know it runs. Let's get some coolant in it. Let's get some hydraulic fluid in it, and See if everything else works. See how good I am at hitting the target. Probably not very good. So we'll do that. Make sure it's not open on the bottom. Looks like everything's closed. And get it filled up. Pull it out for right now. A little bit bigger stuff than I thought. Not going to fill this up. I want to get some hydraulic fluid in it so it can start processing through the system, because I'm sure there's a lot of air. This is going to make a mess. Let's just get a funnel in it. Make sure it's not leaking down below. Doesn't look like it is, so we'll just keep filling her. I'm guessing this takes about 20 gallons, and I brought 10 today. So that'll be enough to get it to at least start and try to run. First 5 gallons, don't see any leaking. So that's a great sign. We'll do have a new hydraulic filter that I'm going to put in on the other side. Alright, it should be in neutral. We got it started once. See if it'll start again and if I can get the hydraulics working. Here we go. I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna check everything. I'm gonna move my truck, and then let's see if this thing actually dries. Okay, well, I've got it to run. I've got the hydraulics working, but there is a hydraulic leak down here, or overflow or something, that I'm gonna try to figure out now, see what's happening there. And then I'll try to move it, and we'll just kind of keep taking steps and go step by step and just get it to the point where we can get it on a trailer and get it home. Need to tighten down that negative contact lead. Okay, I have a hydraulic seal down on the bottom here that is just leaking completely, that I need to get fixed before I run it anymore. I pulled the filter out. It's a screw-on filter. It's got a cup with a screw on the bottom of it. Filter goes inside of it, and from what I could tell, where that cup seats up into the filter receiver, it wasn't set right. So I'm hoping, cross my fingers, that now that I've done that, it will actually seal up for me this time. If not, it's going to require a little more investigation. It starts really well. It seems to have done the job. Well, that wasn't really good. We'll have to check that. Well, it seems to be a fuel problem. I'm going to take the fuel pump out of the equation. Just run the fuel line down to the carburetor. I'll get that done and come back. All right, time to see if it moves. All right, it's a good day. It moves. Well, it was a successful day. I got it out, ran it, it dries, be able to load it onto the trailer and get it home and get it ready to put it back in service. So we're good to go. It is good to go. That off in the distance is Pikes Peak. which is west of Colorado Springs, 14,000 foot peak.
We finally got the forklift loaded and on the road, as you can see, but there were some problems that we had to deal with before we got it on the road. One of the problems was the fact that I had no brakes. So the only way to stop it was to throw it into forward or reverse, the opposite direction I was going. The other issue that I had was the only way to get it started moving was to run it full throttle. Well, both of those issues will be taken care of in future videos, so you'll see more about that. But the final issue we had getting it loaded up was the trailer that was that I originally reserved was too tall on the removable gooseneck. So they had to bring the trailer that you saw in the video, and that took a couple of hours. So all in all, it was a pretty long day to get this thing loaded, and a number of days prior to that to get it to the point where it was running. Overall, though, I'm very happy with the purchase. I'm excited about it. There will be multiple videos on bringing this thing back to life and getting it running, and there are a number of challenges along the way, but it's a blast getting this thing running, and I'm looking forward to putting it into service. Hopefully, you'll join me for the journey of getting it running, and remember, don't be afraid to get out there and get your hands dirty and try something new. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully you'll like and subscribe.